Okay, guys. Well, just what the hell is going on anymore? We had the government release video. The video was shot, I guess, in 2024, but release video now of a Hellfire missile, aptly named Hellfire missiles. They're pretty potent. Shot at a UFO. The missile makes a direct hit, and the UFO just carries on. Now, I'm going to show you guys the video once, we get some notifications out, the gang gets in here. I'll show you guys the video of it. But with so much going on right now, especially with, the whole Charlie Kirk thing and everything, it's this whole UFO incident has just been kind of pushed onto the back burner. Now, you guys know, I've said over and over, while I am not someone who has ever been in the company of aliens that I know of, I've not been abducted that I remember, not been anal probed. I think I would have remembered that. You would get anal probed, you at least want to enjoy it. But I have always said it would be arrogant of us to believe that in this massive, never-ending expanse of the cosmos, that we are the only situation such as ours that can produce life. Now, even given that, if there are other life forms of who knows what number out there, other situations where life has been created, the odds of us crossing paths would also be long, but not non-existent. And things like this just really make you take pause, especially with over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of stuff being shown to us by the military, that the military has held for some time, being released, of incidents with unidentified flying objects, and even the brain trust at the military, as well as these very experienced military pilots, cannot explain. And it makes you start wondering, okay, what is the explanation? And I think the footage is baffling. Let's show the video. We're getting some of the gang in here. We can show it again if we need to, as more people find their way in. Let me see. I've got it queued up here. All right, let's take it step by step here. Here's the video, and then we'll have a discussion about it.
Make impact right there with the UFO, and you appear to see what looks like debris falling off the thing, like it broke into several pieces.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
You're going to see very clearly, there's no doubt that those were not just random pieces of debris. Those were flying objects that were knocked out of the center of that UFO off the coast of Yemen that became right there aerodynamic and started following the UFO.
That was a Hellfire missile that hit that thing. And it just kind of went, didn't hurt. What the hell is going on?
It continued on. It survived the direct hit right there from a Hellfire missile.
Yeah.
Something like that happened. I want to show you guys something
I don't
real
know.
quick. A remark
we want you
that
to
was
tell
made
us.
to Congress yesterday about the Hellfire missile. Here we go. Are you aware of anything in the U.S. arsenal that can
this guy did a good job on
Hellfire missile like this
on breaking
and
this
do
down.
whatever that blob thing did and then keep going? And the witnesses testified that no U.S. technology is capable of surviving such a strike. So continuing on, this thing, whatever it was, should not have survived that impact. But as you can see, it did survive, and 3 objects came out of the inside of the UFO. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. At first, from
did it come out of the inside, or were they flying
the strike from the Hellfire missile? It probably
alongside
broke
of it
off of the UFO, UAP, whatever it was. Here we're going in super,
okay, no,
super
I
tight.
see. That's just that's part of the crosshairs.
It's turned the UFO black. It wasn't necessarily black. I'm not quite sure what color it was because primarily we were working with black and white footage the entire
And
time.
yeah, and it
This
was just
format,
glowing.
however, did turn it black. I zoomed in as close as I could. The clarity remained pretty decent. I managed to increase the clarity just a little bit, but right there it is up close. And you're going to see the strike right there. Notice again what happens right there following the impact.
That's
Those
amazing.
things there, whatever they are, appear to have been knocked from the inside of this thing. And as you're going to see when we zoom in close, and you can tell right here, they're all the same size and same shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are those things? Those are not
Pilots.
just random pieces of debris. Those are some sort of intelligently designed objects. Here we go again. Slow motion, zoomed in. There they are.
All right, so you guys get the idea. So what the hell is this? I mean, okay, we can say, you know, that, as was said, there's no technology in the United States that would allow something to just brush off getting struck by a Hellfire missile. So the immediate first thing you have to wonder is, okay, well, what about other nations? Specifically, China's been really trying to amp up their military tech. Russia, not as much, but still working in the process. But I don't think so. I don't think anybody is. I'm not saying that America can't be surpassed in areas in technology, but I don't think anybody's that far ahead of us. And I don't think too. I think if that was created by that craft was created by something here on Earth that we know of by another nation, I think it would have had to have blown up with a Hellfire missile. The only way we can propel things that fast is with some sort of fuel, right? And I would think that if they're creating it, it would be a weapon, and it probably would have shot back. What the hell? Let's see what everybody's saying. If that is a UFO getting shot by a missile, it seems the warhead was disabled. UFOs have shown they can do this with nukes. Again, assuming legit. Yeah, this video came right from the government, Joe. It's all over. It's not just, you know, some silly little thing making the rounds on X, Twitter. It's been covered by all the major news sources and everything. The government made it available. This video is from, I don't remember the exact date, but was shot in 2024, and it was just released to the public. Well, I think what it is, Big Green, I mean, we don't know from how far away this was shot. It was shot by one of our drones. We don't know how far away that drone was and at what speed all this was taking place, which I think is the big deal. I'm sure it's very difficult at high speeds from a drone at who knows what distance to get really good footage, good clear footage. You know, who knows how fast they were all traveling. Bring on the butt probing, Lady Dana says. That's where I'm at. You know, if the aliens are about to show up, where's the anal probes? Well, so what do you guys think? Also posting weird stuff to the stream is not possible. It is not. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, that would be on me. I'm sorry. Oh, hold on a second, guys. Yeah, we got a major snafu here. Let me fix that for you guys really quick. Well, it's not a snafu. It's a Curtis screw up. Well, shit. This one will take me just a second. I actually lost the Tangia overlay. And that just stucky. Didn't move it. It's gone. All right, we'll get it back. Excuse me. I apologize for this. Now, it's been so long since I set it up, I got to remember how we do it. Where the hell's the TT? Is it in TTS section? No. Again, apologies for the delay here, you guys. Is it in? No, it's not in there. It's been ages since I had to set this up. I don't remember where the hell they have it. It's got to be in settings, setup overlay probably. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Okay, now let me see. Now we need a browser source. Paste that in. Okay, you guys should be good to go now. I apologize for that. I put up a pin post where you can. Dude, Jesus Christ! And that's what you guys had to send at me. Thanks. Hate that puppet. Yes, we're all set on that now.
Weird stuff.
So completely weird stuff. So what? I mean, so in something like that, guys, what are the possible explanations? I mean, I don't want to be somebody. Well, I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't even surprise my neighbors if I was the guy out running around with a tinfoil hat.
To the stream.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sonic. It was where are they just off the coast of Yemen, Cameron? But I believe it was a U.S. drone that picked up the footage. And Jill says, like, why do we shoot at these things? The last thing I would want to do is shoot at something that has the technology to travel light years. What I would assume, Jill, and I can only make an assumption, I would assume they just detected a UFO and they weren't sure what it was. So rather than allow it to have been a high-speed drone, whatever, some sort of missile itself, they decided to intercept it. That would be my guess. Because they obviously didn't know what it was. Printian says there's too many other possibilities as to who or what is operating them before extraterrestrial. Sure. People keep technology a secret, subterranean people, interdimensional beings. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. So regardless of how you would slice it, it's something something that is coming from a place that we've never experienced before. Of those things, subterranean people. I mean, I understand a lot of people. I understand a little bit of interdimensional theory.
I wanted to check if we have
I'm not
alien
sure about
interactions,
subterranean
but
people.
we literally only have this.
We have yeah, yeah. That still gives me the creeps, Big Green. From when we were playing the game, that still freaks me out. Oh, Noise said Look Fun's got some more news. It says there was a second drone not shown in there. ABC News said also video was on March 24th, 2024. Thank you. I knew it was 2024. I didn't know when. It's time to spread our cheeks and take the alien probe. Right. I mean, that's just amazingly bizarre. And because of everything that's going on, it's just getting buried, in the headline. And not on purpose. I mean, people just haven't taken an interest in it. It could be, too, are people getting, I don't know, a little less shocked by such things, considering we've had the government now release video of several encounters with UFOs that they can't explain? Jill says, I think the cover-up is...
Breaking news! Americans fire a fucking HELLFIRE missile at a big oval on shitty camera quality, and the oval tanked that shit. Time to ready your anuses.
Good news break. That pretty much covers it. Jill says, I think the cover-up isn't necessarily nefarious. Agreed. It's because they don't know much more than we do. And that's one of the worst things for a world power to admit. I agree. Who shut down my space toilet? That would actually be cool if it was a space toilet. Little flying turds came out. But I mean, I don't know. Well, put it this way. Okay. If that thing is generated by some other species, some other entity, whether it be aliens, interdimensional, or what have you, isn't that kind of a it's kind of an obtuse way of going about making contact with us. Just like sailing shit a million miles an hour. I'm exaggerating, of course. Really fast in the air over the coast of Yemen. Is it possible if it came from, again,
Mesa will
bizarre
happily trade
places?
hot nudes with they aliens to stay alive. In the past 5 months, Melissa Hortman died in a political assassination, Charlie Kirk died in a political assassination, and Donald Trump barely survived an attempt.
Truth.
Our world's fucked, and Mesa rather be an alien sex slave. Tentacles?
I'll tell you, Rose, I don't think you'd have a lot of people with you willing to board that ship the way we're going here on this planet. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And once we're done talking about this, we can talk about more of the things going on in the world and everything. I wanted to bring this up. But as I said, is it possible, if this was originated from, again, aliens, interdimensional beings, whatever, that maybe they don't have the ability yet to interact with us in person? I mean, obviously we have crafts going throughout our galaxy now, our solar system now, and we can't get humans there. I mean, you know, we're sending out almost to the outer edges of the galaxy.
Stop shooting down my ship. I heard this cancer guy is pretty strong and came to fight him.
That would be Goku, yeah. How does a missile bounce off something and not blow up? That's an interesting question too. Look fun. Jill or somebody I think mentioned what I believe, and I don't know if this is true. You guys can please correct me if I'm wrong. Won't the military in certain instances use a missile without a warhead if the idea is to just like this try to knock something out of the air and not necessarily blow it up? I don't know. Somebody had suggested that, and that makes sense to me. I would think you can also use a missile as basically a battering ram, right? Cameron says, yeah, they chose an interesting place to visit, didn't they, though? I've said no matter where the visitors are coming from, whether it's space or other dimensions or what have you, could be they're checking us out and they're just like, no, come on, we really don't want to stop here. We don't want to hang out here. Wasn't you, Jill? I'm sorry. I couldn't remember who it was. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that was true. Look fun. But when it was said, it made sense to me. Depending on what type of missile it was, maybe it was shot at that thing to knock it out of its flight path. I don't know. These are, again, these are just guesses. But you're right. We can see from the video, as you guys said, there's no. Come on. There's no explosion.
Make impact right there with the
Yeah.
UFO, and you appear to see
Yeah,
what looks like debris
the Hellfire
falling
missile
off the thing.
just
like it broke into several
falls off
pieces.
to the side.
Well, as you're going to see very clearly, there's no doubt that those were not just random pieces of debris.
No, it definitely
Those
doesn't
were
explode.
flying
It looks like,
objects
let's
that
watch
were
it again.
knocked out of the center of that UFO
It looks like
off the coast of
it
Yemen.
glowed a little.
That became
Well, no.
there aerodynamic. And
Yeah, I think you guys are right. There was definitely seems to be no explosion there.
Actually, you shot down Dr. Eggman's latest invention. I didn't even have to do anything. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome. If it is aliens, interdimensional beings, or whatever, if they show up and one of them looks like Robotnik or something, that's going to be amazing. Now, Nice says it could be modular, designed to split when struck. With the missile failing to explode, the impact force alone dislodged outer pods, making the separation look like deliberate engineered components. Interesting. That's interesting. Beaches says, what if their tech stops the missile's detonation? Yeah, I mean, I mean, right, Beaches, because nothing's out of the question. If we're saying that this is some otherworldly tech, we certainly can't put limitations on them. We don't have any idea what they could do. They could be well aware that we might strike with weaponry that will explode. And again, as Beaches says, maybe they have safeguards in place against that. Yeah. Rosa says, oh, well, these retards are killing their own leaders. We don't even have to do this shit. You'd have to, at this point, if you were monitoring us and you were an advanced society of aliens, interdimensional beings, or whatever, and you had been closely monitoring us, you'd think by now you'd have just about had enough. I mean, seriously, we're dipshits. I mean, we can't get along with one another at all. We can't get along with each other on an international level. We can't get along with each other within the confines of our own individual countries. We're screw-ups. United Federation of KFC says, though highly unlikely that these were aliens, if our first instinct as a species was to shoot them, we're screwed. Well, again, I will say this, United. I'm assuming in that situation, not knowing what it is, it's a decision that has to be made in the moment, and somebody has to decide: do we need to take that out? Is it something threatening? Now, they were probably not thinking UFO. They were probably just thinking it was some sort of, they would, after the missile hit, they would know what it was. In other words, that it was, I don't know what speed it was going. Maybe they thought it was a drone. More likely, they thought it was another missile. And so they were just doing that as self-defense. That's what I would assume. Corinthians says, our current weaponry relies on circuitry to operate the detonation. Okay, so what do you... I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying, because I'm a toadstool. Corinthian, so you're saying that the detonation doesn't necessarily come from contact? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Beaches says, maybe we are protected by the aliens, but sometimes their youth goes on joyrides and messes with us. I mean, with all the theories out there of what our existence is, and, there's so many theories about, obviously, other dimensions. And, they have the theory that we are just basically somebody else's science project. And we can't say that none of these are true. What the fuck, assholes? What is wrong with you, meatbags? Yeah, that would be about right, Chewie. We come in peace. Here's a Hellfire missile for you. Haha, didn't hurt. It's just stunning. When you have this many experienced military minds looking at this footage, just like the one, what came out last year or the year before. Remember the one with the floating orbs that some pilots, some of the Air Force pilots got video of, and it moved in directions that no aircraft we know of can move, and then just dove directly down into the ocean. I mean, we're seeing more and more things like this that the government's releasing. What the hell is going on? How can these people who are at the cutting edge of the technology of weapons and flight have no idea what it could be? I mean, they can't even, in both those cases, they're saying they can't even fathom. We don't have any idea how you would even create something like what we've seen, both in that case of that orb that dove into the ocean and this thing here. So if we can't even imagine it, I'm quite certain nobody else on this planet has created it. Crazy, after the missile hits the main body, tumbles only to recover. Then you see large fragments from the UAP or missile come off but almost start to foul. That's exactly it, Joe. Chrome, I see you just came in too. We'll play the video again. I know more and more people. We got a lot more people in now. I'll play the video so you guys can see what we're talking about. Let's see. Come on, Curtis. You got this, big guy.
I can't wait till we get alien footage that isn't shot from my old Nokia phone in my dusty cupboard.
Fair. Very fair. Okay. This is the video that was just currently released by the government. Recently released by the government.
Like it broke into several pieces. Well,
Now,
as you're going to see,
what you're seeing here is that's the UFO, because it gets a little confusing, that's on the screen right now. What you're going to see making contact with it is a Hellfire missile that was shot at it.
There's no doubt that those were not
It makes
just random
contact.
pieces of debris. Those
And
were
then you see those three
flying
pieces break
objects
off.
that were knocked out of the center of that UFO off the coast of Yemen that became right there aerodynamic and started following the UFO as it.
And even somebody as untrained and unskilled as I am can see, that those fragmented pieces didn't fly away. Like, they weren't knocked into the air and then dismissed as you would expect. They became, as he said, aerodynamic themselves and followed the main body of whatever the hell that thing was. And again, you combine this with that whole thing with the orbs that they released a year or two ago, and there's been several videos now that the government has released of encounters where they have no idea what it was.
Glorp. He was coming to pick up a shipment of horse cum fent for the Neptunian Mafia. Big Schleem is gonna be pissed.
And then we deserve whatever a Big Schleem does to us. Then I would say. Chrome says, "Are we sure it's a single thing and not like a swarm of smaller drones?" They seem to be, Chrome. They do seem. I watched a little bit of the press conference they had about it as well. I should have grabbed that for you. There is an interesting part of the press conference too, where the media is talking to these experts, and they ask them point blank, "Does this scare you?" And across the board, they're saying, "Well, yeah." I mean, and these aren't alarmist people; these are professionals in the field of weaponry and aerodynamics, and they're afraid. Damn. Lick says, that's not a UFO. That's a top 10 UFO caught in real life, not clickbait. Yeah, got to write the right title. It's very important, Lex. Lady Danish said, "Would we shoot at Japan technology though? I thought we were buddies with them, not fire Hellfire missiles at their stuff." Well, what? And again, this is just my assumptions, guys. I don't know anything. My assumption is they don't, just like they don't know now that it's been hit by a Hellfire missile, they don't know what it was. I think when they fired at it, they didn't know what it was and were concerned that it was something threatening. That would be my guess. I think they lost track of it. As near as I can tell, I'll see if I can find you guys more information. I believe they lost track of it right after when you see it dive out of the frame, because that's a drone that's shooting that footage, and I believe they lose it shortly after the main piece and those three pieces fly off. Let me take a look just real quick while we're doing this. Let me see if I'll go back to the generic search. I don't think anybody has anything more on it. You guys just shut down my house. My bestie on his day. Y'all better get ready because I'm suing all of Earth. Now we're in trouble when they start talking litigation. Jesse, thanks for the super chat, pal. Jesse says it was Diddy's baby oil delivery that got hit. I believe that would stand up to the Hellfire missile. He's using the top grade stuff. I don't see any videos that tell us really any more than what we just saw there. Yeah, I'm watching video. I'll show it to you guys if it shows us anything more. I don't think it will. Yeah, it looks like the same video. Excuse me. Okay, they were tracking it for quite some time. It hits. There's the three pieces. This is a wider shot. Oh, all right. Oh, hold on. Let me show you guys this one. This one makes it kind of look like we might have done some damage to it, though. Let me pull this back up for you guys. If you guys haven't seen this video of it, hold on. This changes things a little. I'm gonna have to go down there and strangle dogs here shortly. Let me get the whole thing in. All right, I think you got it all now. Now watch this one. There's no audio. Actually, we can fast forward a little. They're tracking it. Now watch. This one's more interesting. Oops, sorry guys. I say watch as I cut it off on you. Now watch what it does. You can see more of it here. Okay, boom. There's the contact. Now I'm not as sure. Do those continue flying?
This is when
or is that some destruction?
You still see it traveling.
Oh wait, no, you can still see it traveling. Never mind, he answered my question. There is more footage here.
So, Mr. Knapp.
Oh, it does fly off.
Do you have you heard about events like this?
Wow, guys. So it did. Now we know for sure it did keep traveling. Because now from that brief shot, I thought maybe it did do damage, and it was just momentum that continued carrying them. But they did track it further, and it did keep flying away. Yeah, I thought so too at first, Chrome, but now I don't think so. If you look at that second part, they tracked it. It kept flying. Wow, that here, let me put that back. Oh no, you guys still got it up there. The second part here.
This is when it zoomed out.
This is
you still see it traveling.
It's still traveling. That's not falling. And it's zoomed out too far to see if the three pieces are still beside it.
So,
oh no, that's traveling.
Mr. Knapp, do you have you heard about events like this?
What the hell, you guys? All right, let me continue looking. Let me see if I can find anything else for you guys. Let me see if I can find any other vids. Wow. What is this one? Oh, this is something else entirely. No, we're not interested in that. We're talking about this specific incident. Okay, here's somebody else that looks like the same. Yeah, it's the same video. Nope, that's nothing. I apologize. I'm just looking for you guys right now. See if there's. It seems to be. Okay, all right. This person, his name is Mick
So in
West.
watching the first Halloween movie in the background of this stream, AJ, the
Perfect
music
timing.
is definitely adding to the UFO footage right now. Just
Definitely.
wanted to let y'all know that.
Perfect timing. This guy claims to be a UFO analyst. I don't know what his credentials are. He says, with the Yemen UFO, while it might seem impossible that 3 bits of debris from a missile strike would look the same, that's actually what you get with sharpening and other artifacts on small, hot fragments. Here's an example filled with an MQ-9. I don't know. I can assume he knows what he's talking about. And we couldn't tell because it zoomed out, so we couldn't tell if those other 3 pieces continued flying with the main body or not. We really couldn't see anymore. So that's interesting. I mean, I don't know if the guy knows who he's talking about. I have no reason not to believe him.
And you shot it down. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
My day is ruined. Ah, poor Hal. Again, I'm just checking more footage, guys. I don't think there's anything else. No, doesn't look like anybody has any other footage other than what we just saw. I'm glad we saw that second one though. Because that, I mean, that's pretty terrifying. That freaking thing continued flying. There's no question anymore. I mean, amongst us, just watching the stream, there's no question that it kept flying. It tracked it further. Because I thought, when we got to that second view that went on longer, you see the initial impact, and if you stay with it, then it starts to look like, okay, it disabled it. Those three pieces broke off, and all the pieces now are just moving on momentum and will crash into the ocean. But then they take the longer view, and that fucker's still traveling. Damn. I wish we could get more details on it. Excuse me, guys. Again, we got more and more people coming in. Please hit, if you guys have any idea. No suggestion is too ridiculous. If you have a thought of what you think it might be, if you have an opinion on where these things might have come from, this one, we were talking about that the year or two ago when we saw those orbs that were unidentified flying objects that dove into the ocean. If you guys have ideas, hit us with them. That's what these streams are for. Well, those particles after impact beaches, according to that guy, again, he's a guy on X, for whatever he knows, he states that in that situation, in those circumstances, 3 identical pieces could break off. That doesn't seem logical to me, but I certainly don't understand thermodynamics by any stretch, so what the hell do I know? Those 3 pieces are definitely part of it. It's too bad that the drone had to zoom out to keep the craft in its view, because we couldn't tell anymore if the 3 pieces were still flying with it or not. It was off the coast of Yemen, Chrome. It was off the coast of Yemen, and it was a U.S. drone that took the footage.
The final build of Elder Scrolls 6 was in there.
Probably was. I think Volcano Head has it. Beaches put that well. It stabilized, then kept going like it was a minor inconvenience. I think Beaches is right. When you look at that footage, it does seem like it took the initial hit. It was like a boxer taking a hook. Boom, it stuns you for a second, but then you get back to business. That's what it seemed like. Like it deterred it for a moment, and then it just righted the ship. Something from Area 51 or something Japanese. I don't think something Japanese looked fun, because I honestly believe if Japanese had any type of technology like that at all, I think we would know. I mean, our relationship with Japan is quite good, and what would Japan be creating? You know what I'm saying? Chrome says it's still moving, but look how it starts turning after hit, while the 3 smaller parts remain stable and don't turn. That's odd to me. Why wouldn't they spin as well if they broke off? Yeah, everything about it is odd, Chrome. It really is. Initially when I saw that, and I think when everybody saw that, you see that strike, you see those 3 pieces. Obviously, you immediately believe that those are 3 chunks of whatever that ship was. But then they don't act like chunks that got knocked off something. Because they definitely don't. We know that the main unit kept going. We know that for a fact. We saw it on video. And we also know in that little bit of time that we get to see the 3 chunks, they stay right with that main unit. So we know that main unit still has propulsion because it continues flying away. That would suggest that the 3 units would have to have propulsion too. Because if they were just pieces that got knocked off, they should be being taken away as their momentum drops, right? Tom says the U.S. government intercepted a key attack from a Saiyan invader. Then we're really screwed because we're getting original. Yeah, I think what you're saying. Vegeta, you're getting original Vegeta here. It recovered as graceful as a bumblebee. Yeah, Princeton. As Beach has said, that's well put. That's what it looks like. It looks like it took the hit, it disoriented it for a moment, and then it righted itself and said, "Okay, we're cool," and kept going. Interesting. Look Fun says, "What if those chunks were part of the ship's defense mechanism after being hit by a missile?" God damn. Jameson says perhaps something, same basic idea, something was thrown from the ship to take the hit from the missile. Could be too. Yeah, are the three pieces a defense mechanism of sorts? But to me, I mean, the thing that really resonates and really blows my mind is no matter what else, that was a fucking HELLFIRE missile that just hit something, detonation or not, and that something just kept on going. There's no one that will make me believe that any organization on Earth can create something that can do that. I just don't believe it. Lady Danish also says, I think it had some sort of shield that tanked most of the hit. And and if so, you got to wonder if those three pieces weren't part of whatever that shielding was. Yeah, I agree. That could be. Instalock says, Superman tried to come home and we greet him with a HELLFIRE. We are dicks. So electromagnetic shield. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. Could it be that so I see what you guys are saying. Did that object have
I think
a defense
there's been
system that we couldn't see?
misconceptions. That footage is outdated. It's actually the divorce papers I sent
to
to
Hal.
Hal being delivered to the Discovery. I just happened to strap them to a missile and hit the wrong part of the ship, which was only coincidentally where the PC box that stores Hal's AI was located. It was a prank, I know.
It's just a prank, bro. It's just more
Clearly,
Hal
this
and
is
GLaDOS
alien
issues.
sexcraft, eyes wide shut type of shit. The 3 modules that came off were the fat friends one of the members were forced to bring. Trust me, I'm a science guy.
That's good shit. The ones who didn't fit into the whole, the all of what was going on. Yeah, if it was Frieza's ship, we're screwed. I think we'd know, though. This was 2024. Frieza would have gotten us by now. Could have just emailed me. Yeah, but that wouldn't have been as spectacular, Hal. Lakewood says, some people said it's a Mylar weather balloon that got torn. How? It didn't take a hit, the missile just went through it? I get that, Lakewood, but how could it have kept flying then for that long? You know what I'm saying? If it was a balloon, that hit, and especially, like you say, if it tore through it, that would have ended its propulsion. Now it's just going to fall. And we see in that second video we watched that this craft continues going for quite some time under its own power, under its own propulsion. Yeah, and true, too, we don't know, as it kept going, we don't know what type of damage it had as it kept going. Island of baked and naked women. That would be Rick, without a doubt. Jill says, I'm wondering how much parallax is going on in that video. Seems like it's crushing at a decent speed and continues to after it's hit. Yeah. We're talking about that too. Chrome, about why was there no explosion from the Hellfire missile? Let me ask. This again, this is not. I don't want to take credit or blame for something. This is not something I know anything about. But I was told by some people that they believe that sometimes missiles are fired without a warhead, that they're used, for whatever, just to deflect something or whatever. Let's see. How would I ask that? Do all Hellfire missiles have warheads? Did I say that right? Typically have one or more explosive warheads. However, there are versions of the Hellfire missile that use steel blades instead of a warhead to minimize civilian casualties and targeted killings. Does that really help us at all, though? So if it doesn't have a warhead, it has steel blades, but why could they have shot a Hellfire missile of that nature at it because they didn't want an explosion to take place over the coast like that? So we know they do have Hellfire missiles that don't explode. What one would they use in that situation? So lack detonation, yeah, those apparently look fun. From what that's telling us, they have ones that have basically knives that have blades to do damage. And I'm just wondering, because they said it was on the coast of Yemen, was it close enough to land that they didn't, especially since they didn't, that would kind of make sense, because they obviously didn't know what they were shooting at. And maybe their concerns were that whatever they were shooting at was an explosive device too. And they didn't want the excessive explosion over the coast. Jill says, also, it seems like it has its own plane of gravity. The way the pieces fall off but keep traveling the same way in speed makes it seem like they could just alter gravity. It does. It does. And either alter gravity or they have so much propulsion that gravity is basically a non-factor to the ships. Yeah, I didn't know for sure either. It looked fun that we had non-detention missile on the ready. But that makes sense. The explanation that was given by the AI there does make sense. I mean, depending on the circumstances, you might want to do damage without doing the intense damage of having an explosion. So that kind of makes sense. Doing good, Alec. Beaches said,
Isaac Newton just turned in his grave.
Yeah. Good point, Hal. Isaac Newton's like, yeah, I went out of my way to figure that shit out for you guys. Now we got something or someone showing up that's just like, fuck your gravity. I'll do what I want. Gravity's not the boss of me. That's good. Beacher says, I think it moves like a magnet on a trajectory, which is why it stabilized first. Could be. Jill says, if this is an actual UFO, this means our government is actively shooting at them, or someone is. Then they may think we are a hostile species altogether. Well, that one I can give them, Jill, only because, as I said, we don't know where this object was moving towards or whatever. It could, and it's a split-second decision somebody has to make. Okay, there's something that is in the sky, moving at a high rate of speed, heading towards here. Do we wait and see what it does, or do we take it out? So I can forgive that. They don't know what it is. I'm sure at the time they were thinking it was something man-made. They just didn't know what yet, and so they wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to do damage. That's what you can assume. It's when the Hellfire missile hit it and the thing went like that they realized, oh, that wasn't something that we created. Lakewood says, I don't think it was moving that fast. It's just that the zoomed-in shot made it look fast. And also, the thermal imaging has artifacting that looks like objects moving fast with just background noise. Well, yeah, there's artifacting, but those were definitely, you could see, those were individual pieces that came off. But when you watch the second part of the second video there, though, Lakewood, it's moving pretty good. Because when it zooms out, it's still, I don't know what body of water specifically that is, but it zoomed out to take in a lot of area, and that freaking thing's still zipping along. It's moving pretty fast. So the logic is, if we don't know what it is, shoot it. You can almost excuse that. Look, fun is better to shoot it than find out that it was something nefarious after it lands in somebody's lap. I mean, I'm sure their idea was to neutralize a threat. And again, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate for anybody. I'm just saying somebody had to make that decision in real time, a split-second decision, saying, okay, this thing's coming, what do we do? And they decided to take it out. Lady Dana says War of the Worlds on the 2025 bingo card. Yeah. The way 2025 is going, Danish, who nobody would, I can't even say I would even be surprised. Chrome says, boy, it's almost like it was flying over a hotbed area where missiles and weapons are known. Yeah, better let it go. Yeah, exactly. Well, anything over the Middle Eastern region, you have to in that situation assume that it's nefarious. We come in peace with throwing out the window then. Right, but you have to, in fairness to them, look fun, you have to remember, when they shot at it, they didn't think it was going to be something that just deflected a Hellfire missile. They thought it was something that was looking to blow something else up. I can understand why they did it. Gabriel says, with how 2025 is right now, I wouldn't be surprised if I wake up in the morning and hear that dinosaurs still exist. Yeah, nothing would be a surprise anymore, the way things are going. Baldor says, looking at all the shit people do, I'm surprised that aliens want to visit in the first place, especially near a war zone. Yeah, I agree. We were talking about that earlier. Okay, let me ask you that part of the question then. All right, let's just say, for the sake of argument, let's just say that this was a UFO craft of some sort, something created, by an entirely different civilization, because we don't have the technology to create such a thing. What are your best guesses on where is that civilization from? Are you thinking interdimensional? Are you thinking outer space? What are your thoughts on that? Lady Dana says, aliens stopped by and realized we are the Detroit ghetto of the solar system. Yeah, as I had said earlier, if they're monitoring us at all and they see the way we act and that, as I said, we can't get along with each other globally and we can't get along with each other even within the confines of our own nations, they got to look at us and just laugh. And
a galaxy far, far away.
Is that what you're thinking? Galaxy far, far away? Yeah. It's a black hole devouring everything. Oh, that's a shitty way to go. That's going to stretch you out and rip you apart. That's just rude. And Corinthian thinks interdimensional. Chrome says, I mean, if it's not terrestrial, then it's likely from a local system, but it doesn't mean it's aliens themselves. Could be drones to research the Mass Effect universe, hopefully. The blue aliens are hot, Cameron says. A habitable planet? You think so, Gabriel? I am fascinated by the idea of interdimensional travel and multiple dimensions. I don't know a lot about it. A lot of what I know about those theories comes from you guys in doing these types of streams.
Yeah, it's called spaghettification. That would suck.
Yeah, that would really suck. Oh damn! I don't want to go out at the hands of a black hole. It seems like it's a real dick the way it takes you apart. We can all be spaghettification. Yeah. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to leave you a spaz share for just a second. I'm putting those dogs in their room. This is ridiculous. I have nobody else is home downstairs except Nene, and they're going batshit. So again, I'll be right back. Don't get attached to spaz share. Remember, I get jealous easily.
Oh, finally, he's gone.
All hail Spaz Chair, my lover.
What the hell is that? I come back to the Pepe dance. Oh, shit. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I couldn't take any more of that barking. All right. Andrew Wilson, thanks for the super chat. Says, we thought we were going to be beating alien cheeks in the Area 51 march, but I think they're going to beat our cheeks instead. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's funny. I don't know if you... Well, I guess there's not much we can do about it. If aliens, interdimensional beings, whatever are... Oh, I'm shit.
No,
hold on.
I was entertaining myself.
Oh. Well, we appreciate that, Sonic. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. I don't know. I guess if aliens, interdimensional beings, anything, if they're on their way here or if they are here, I guess there's nothing we can do about it anyway. Because what I was about to say was we're getting absolutely stunning videos like this. Excuse me. You know, as a society for forever, we've been fascinated by the idea of life from elsewhere coming here. And now that we're getting actual video footage that suggests that possibly something like that is taking place, look at really how flippant everybody is about it. But as I said, then I think about it, it's like, well, there's no reason to get excited about it because there ain't a goddamn thing we can do about it. So I guess it's not that shocking that it's not a big deal to people. Andrew, thank you for the super chat again. Says it was a test. They're going to wall us off like that South Park episode. Yeah, that could be. And you wonder, when you see things like this, or... Bork.
I want your undying attention. Or food. I don't know. I am a dog. I can't decide.
Oh, I don't know what their malfunction was down there. There's nothing going on down there. Nene's just laying in her bed listening to music, and nobody else is there, and they were just losing their shit. Chrome says, like, if faster than light travel really is impossible, then it's likely aliens send drones out that they have some form of self-sufficiency to research other planets, send data home. That's what I was leading to too, Chrome. I think that's true. Between this and that, again, that video of those orbs that they could not determine what the hell they were. Again, we know these things exist. We've got them on video, and there is no earthly explanation for them. So given that, you almost have to wonder, whoever it is, if these aren't advanced craft just checking us out. That's certainly what it would seem like. I got a nanu for you, Shazbot. Protean says, good old days. Good old Robin Williams. CJP says they were intergalactic UN peacekeepers that we immediately shot down. That would be about right. Well, let me ask you this question. It's kind of a philosophical question, too. Do you think it would be possible for another race, again, wherever they come from, to advance to the point where they can make contact with us either through the cosmos or through another dimension? So in other words, they're obviously extremely advanced. Is it possible to get that advanced and not be aggressive? Is it possible for another species to come here because they have advanced so far and see that there's life here and be like, oh, cool, we can make friends, and they've never thought about the idea of obliterating one another? Could they come here without weapons, and then when we send a Hellfire missile right up their ass, they're like, who the fuck does that? Is that a possibility? Chrome says, wrong question. Is it possible for another species to get that advanced without developing enough empathy and sense to negotiate and live with others? Well, I think they're both legitimate questions, but it takes two sides to negotiate, though. I mean, and again, as we said, these ships that we're seeing could just be the scouts. And my thought on that is, okay, if they are scouts, could they have sent them here thinking we wouldn't or couldn't attack them because whatever those beings are, the idea of attacking even one another has never been part of their makeup, of who they are. Lady Danish says it might be that they aren't aggressive, but they see us a threat because of how shit we are, and they got to do what they have to do. Could be, and that now will they have the weaponry to do it then if they've never had a need for weaponry? Gabriel says we don't know what kind of technology aliens have. For all we know, they could be secretly tuning into the stream. We wouldn't know. Ah, God damn it! Thanks for putting that thought in my head, Gabriel. Listen, aliens, I'm your pal. I'm good old boy Curtis. And the gang in here. When you come take over, give us positions of authority. And do you have any hot women with really low standards? I don't know why I'm looking up. They could be coming from down. I don't know. Nice says, if your negotiations involve missiles, then all deals, past, present, or future, are off. Yeah. No, I am not your pal. I'm not your buddy, pal. I think it's the wrong question because literally every species has shown the capability to be aggressive or defensive. But we're also, Chrome, dealing with a species that we have never encountered before. So as far as earthbound species, we know that to be the case. But we're talking about a group that comes either from another dimension or another part of the stratosphere. And I'm not saying they aren't aggressive. I'm saying, is it possible that they could become this advanced and never have become aggressive? Maybe the aliens won't show up because they're on the Epstein list. They're the ones keeping it from us. Well, could Curtis be attracted to Klingon women? Anything's possible, Chrome. Liquid says the most likely scenario is that FTL travel isn't possible. There are currently hundreds, if not thousands, of alien civilizations that have no idea they aren't alone in the universe. I agree with that. I think, as I've always said, it would be arrogant to believe that we are the only situation in this vast cosmos that has created this type of life. or anything similar in that type of life. But, and I agree with 100% with what you're saying. I think the bigger concern is, would we ever cross paths? When we can't, I don't even think our human mind can genuinely understand the concept of the vastness of the cosmos, of the never-ending cosmos. So given that, what are the odds?
Are you going to re-upload that stream from yesterday? That was a really good stream, I feel.
No, Wolfpaw, any of the reaction video streams have to be taken down as soon as we're done, or they will acquire strikes for the channel. No, there's none of the reaction video streams stay up. I don't know. Superman is an alien who looks human. What if that? Yeah, they're the Futurama Neutronians. Yeah, definitely not. No, we definitely can't leave reaction video streams up as videos on the channel. That's a good idea, Jill. Jill says that's why I record my own part of the vids during the stream. That's a really good idea. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. I don't know. It's fascinating to think about, though, and I am still, I have to admit, I'm a little stunned that things like this really don't get that much conversation even. I think people are just, our day-to-day lives are so hectic and everything, and there's so much going on that directly affects us right now. I think in general, humans are saying, okay, if somebody shows up, I'll deal with it then, when they make themselves known. But if they're just flying their little reconnaissance missions over the coast of Yemen, I don't care. Chrome says, I do think convergent evolution would result in a lot of alien species evolving to look similar to some Earth-like life. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, one, I noticed that the infrared camera makes it seem weirder than it is. Yeah, it would be nice if it, like we had all said, it would be nice if one of these things would play nice and allow us to get some good, regular, high-def video of it. But instead, it always has to be, obviously, because of the circumstances, shot from a long way away, infrared cameras, on a drone. You're not going to me, considering all the parameters of how and where that video was shot, I think that's pretty good video, to be honest with you. Nice says, aliens from other dimensions are probably so different from us that we can't even guess how they think or what they want. I agree. Maybe with those from the same plane of existence, we can kind of guess. I agree with that.
I think one of them created something called Facebook.
If we're going to start calling out the people in our society, we find out that there are aliens among us, and we got to figure out who they are. I would start with that guy too. Jill says, I still think all this alien stuff is just a psyop, like climate change from money laundering. I don't think any of it's a psyop. I mean, especially things like this, I don't think there's any real gain in it. Things like this video here, there's no real gain to be had by creating something like that. Wonder if it was cloaked but only seen in infrared. That's interesting, Beaches. Hadn't thought about that. Indigo Wells says, I heavily doubt it was a real alien. The Pentagon, as of 2023, admitted they had possession of real aliens, UFOs, and reverse engineering. They did? I completely was... Wait a second. The Pentagon admitted they had possession of real aliens? I have to...
There is definitely no gain from this stream, besides 92 cents.
Right. I was going to say, don't forget about the 92 cents. Well, let's ask AI again. We'll do it the quick way. I had never heard that. Did the Pentagon admit to having possession of real aliens?
Here's an answer from Outkick.com.
Pentagon denies having possession of alien UFOs. While there have been multiple shocking claims made about UFOs over the past few days, the Pentagon is holding the lines, no such things exist. So what, wherever the
Hey,
they got the information from online, it's in disagreement. Yeah.
Shooting of Charlie Kirk. His father turned him in.
I have a video posted on the channel already, all about that, talking about it. Indigo Wells says they most definitely could have found how to make a UFO and are testing it.
Does the Pentagon have
cover
a
up acting
McDonald's,
as
though?
if we casually attacked it. Oh, that is what's important. 100%. Indigo Wells has got an interesting point there. They most definitely could have found how to make a UFO and are testing it, and as a cover-up, acting as if we just casually attacked aliens without warning. That's an interesting thought. What if we here in the U.S. were developing, if not necessarily UFOs, but developing high-speed ships that could possibly even go, interplanetary and whatnot? There would have to be testing along the way. How would you do that covertly? That's an interesting thought, an interesting theory. Indigo Wells says, I apologize if it's wrong. Oh, no, to apologize. But I recall them talking about recovering alien bodies or something. See, I never heard that, Indigo. I'm fascinated by this. And I know my memory is dog shit, but that one I had never heard. I'm not saying they don't have alien bodies. I'm saying I've never heard them admit to it. Chrome says, faster than light travel is theoretically possible, actually, but would require an absolutely massive ship engine the size of like a city to a moon by current knowledge, right? By our current standards. That's, but Indigo Wells brings up something interesting there. Okay, say our government is has found a means of propulsion that would make interplanetary travel possible. How do you test that stuff?
What did you think about scientists?
It's got to be out there somewhere.
Wolf. 2 pups have been born. I think they are like 7 months old now, and they are huge.
Really? I didn't know anything about that. That's the setting for a good horror movie or something right there. that type of science run amok. Lady Danish says, anyone remember that Area 51 call from years ago on Coast to Coast? Dude said they're aware of aliens. They're not what they seem. He seemed really spooked, and then the call goes dead. Wow, so I do remember that. You never know what somebody has created on their own, but you're right, Lady Danish. I do remember that. It was creepy. It was very creepy. Indigo says a consistent theme with the UFO is they're always around the ocean. Is usually the Navy or the Air Force discovers them near the water. That's true. That has been a consistent theme. Yeah, that's true. And that's interesting too. Yeah. And although, I mean, there's been plenty of videos taken from land by people just with their phones or their cameras of things that are not easily explained. But with each of them, there's always a possible explanation. But you're right. All the ones the videos that have been taken that are like this, that are taken by the military with high-tech equipment and people involved who know what should be and can be out there flying around, all of those, you're right, are always over the water. Interesting. Apparently this one was just off the coast. But definitely, as you can see, it's still over water. Let's see, I've got the wrong tab up here.
They're just thirsty.
And hopefully by thirsty, I mean for water and not anal probes. Well, anal probes too. Oh, Chrome's got a link on the dire wolves. Hold on, let me take a look at that. Time reports meet the first dire wolves to exist in over 10,000 years.
Yes.
Wow. That's bizarre. Holy crap. Yes. That's really cool.
Is a Dallas-based company that's using...
Wow. Dire wolves. There's got to be some good stories in that. Damn. Compared to Jurassic Park, yeah. Yeah, that would definitely be the initial comparison. Absolutely. Wow, that's crazy. That call with Art Bell, Corinthians, talk about that call about the somebody with information on the UFOs. 3 decades ago, I remember getting a stiffy when I heard it again years later on a Tool album. It is creepy. I've heard that conversation, and it is creepy as hell. Well, I've told you guys before, for several years, I lived in Roswell, New Mexico. And now this was back in the early 80s. So you have to remember, at that time, the whole incident in Roswell is not that many years removed. Now, the interesting thing to me was when you would talk to people about it down there, and now Roswell has since really embraced that whole aliens thing. You know, if you're in Roswell now, you can buy all kinds of alien merch and, you know, every tourist trap type thing you can imagine. Back then, there was really nothing about it to speak of. Occasionally, you'd see the little blow up of an alien at a car lot or something like that. But what was interesting to me is back then when you talked to people who, and there were lots of them, who were adults living in Roswell, when that whole thing took place, they were very matter of fact about it. And these weren't crazy people. You know, they were just run of the mill Joes and Janes working, doing their daily lives like everybody else. And they would tell you, they would say, well, yes, something happened. Because there's a lot of them that said they were told to get back in their houses by people in military vehicles.
Blow-up aliens.
Those yeah, they're a big thing in Roswell now. That's big. They finally figured it out that they needed to trade on that. But the people down there would speak of it in very nonchalant terms, saying, "We know something happened." Now, was it actually aliens? Nobody can say for sure, but they said it was a big deal. It wasn't a fucking weather balloon. It was a big deal because I talked to the people who lived there and saw the military coming in force and all these different types of vehicles. Some vehicles, I was told, were of a nature that they'd never even seen these types of vehicles prior, going out into that supposed crash zone. So what happened? Again, none of them know for sure. But what they would tell you across the board is the government's explanation of it being a weather balloon is bullshit. Because you don't mobilize half of the country's military for a goddamn weather balloon. No, it was a weather balloon. The weather balloon was genuinely a weather balloon. We know the full story now. It was a military one. But, Chrome, there was more than one Roswell incident. There were a number of alleged Roswell incidents. And I tend to believe what the people said, too. Again, these people aren't going to lie to you. So they came in with that kind of force for a weather balloon? Because, again, why would they lie? And they all had the same stories. That there were all these military vehicles and jeeps and this and that and the other coming in. They were told to get back in their houses, and it was a big rigmarole. Yeah, again, I lived in Roswell for several years, Lady Danish, and as I said, these were people who lived through it. And the thing they always said too was, because there was a lot of questions about it from the get-go, if it was a weather balloon, they could have snapped a couple of pictures of it. They didn't even bother to do that and just showed it to the public. Beacher says, our privy brains keep the aliens away because some creep out there would do some messed up things to an alien that crash landed. Yeah, that's entirely possible too. Oh, yeah. Could you imagine the poor aliens crash landing down in the hills of West Virginia? Or down in the backwoods of Alabama. You talk about anal probes. Oof. Indigo Well says, you know that if that is the case, then what makes you think they don't have a UFO that they haven't publicly said that allowed them to reverse engineer it? Then kind of what I mentioned earlier. Right. I hadn't thought about that, Wells, but you're right. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that possibility that we are experimenting with some sort of next level craft with before as of unheard of propulsion. And obviously you're going to have to test it. And there's no way you're going to be able to test something like that discreetly. That's an interesting take. I hadn't thought about that. Jill Snack says, I get a lot of heat from my
coworkers. Kind of random, but I think you would like The X-Files. That show was great. I
saw an episode or two, Big Green, when it came out. It just never really caught my interest. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't have enjoyed it. I look at Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I knew of them, seen little bits and pieces of them. Never really caught my interest, and they're two of the best things I've ever seen. And Jill says, I get a lot of heat from my coworkers yesterday saying aliens are real. They're out there, but they've never been to Earth. Yeah, I mean, I've said it over and over. It'd be wildly arrogant of us to believe that we are the only intelligent life in the vastness of this cosmos. Like this weather balloon was one that generally gave them a massive advantage over the Soviets. Could detect nukes going off anywhere in the world within minutes. It could be. Anything's possible, Chrome. I'm just telling you what the people that were there relayed to me. And they know that they went out into, it's not desert down there, it's considered high plains. They went out into the plains outside of Roswell where this crash took place, and they took something out of there. And they brought in a huge amount of military might to do so. That's all they know. And they didn't even come up with the weather balloon story till sometime later. I do know that as well. Lakewood says, X-Files starts off slow, to be fair, but it's absolutely goated, especially for anyone that's interested in the unknown. Yeah, Beaches. Deliverance version of Roswell. Humans probe first. Yeah, if they crash, we gotta hope that. Oh, please don't do the Deep South. Like I say, I'm not going to argue that wasn't it. I don't think we'll ever know 100% for sure what it was, only because I don't trust the government to ever tell us the truth. But if what they're telling you, what they're saying is true, and it was this weather balloon that gave them a massive advantage over the Soviets, then that's awesome. But especially with recent way things are handled amongst our government, I don't trust them to ever be upfront with us. Our government believes and they might even be right at that, we're a bunch of nitwits who can't handle anything. Gooners on their way to Yemen. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, and like I say, Chrome, they could be telling 100% the truth. That could absolutely be what happened. I just don't trust them to. And again, the people I spoke to, they were not, they weren't people looking for attention, and not people who were hyperbolic or anything. They just said, yeah, this is what we saw. It just seemed, and I guess that would explain some of it if it had would basically amount to military secrets on that balloon. But they said there was a really big, significant number of military personnel came through shutting Roswell down. Beaches says, some people thought our B-2 bomber before it went public was aliens. Oh, really? Yeah, that's what I mean. I like that theory that Indigo Wells brought up. Yeah, if you're creating tech like that, you got to be able to test run it somewhere. So to give it a test run and see how it handles a cruise missile, yeah, that wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility at all. We could be living in a Men in Black world right now. I've thought that before too. Look fun. Would that be interesting if amongst us right now there are either aliens or entities from parallel universes amongst us. Hell, maybe I'm one. No, I'm not cool enough. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not cool enough. Anything's possible in a convincing simulation, right? Chrome says, I want to specify something. Originally, we thought it would take a ship the size of Saturn to do warp speed, but in my lifetime, they got it down to about a city to a moon, so it's moving fast. Oh, yeah. Well, just in general, technology is, especially me being an old fart. I mean, just what we see in our day-to-day technology from the time I was a kid is absolutely stunning. Mind-blowing. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, or when I was in middle school to high school, if you told us that someday we were going to not only carry our phone in our pocket, but it would also, you could talk to people via video and send pictures and do all the things that we take for granted now, we would have said you are absolutely fucking stupid. We thought that Dick Tracy was sci-fi bullshit. That's what made him fun. That could never possibly happen because he had he could talk to people on his wristwatch. He had basically a wristwatch communication device. And we all thought that was stuff that would never, ever actually take place. And shit, that technology. I can tell you guys, when calculators came out, basic desktop calculators, 37 plus 23 equals 60 calculators, we thought that technology was insane and that we were at the pinnacle. And now you go back, this would have been in the 70s, and those calculators came out and they were like $80 bucks, $85 bucks, $100 for a calculator in 1970s dollars, which means today that calculator probably would have cost you what, $400 or $500, because it was such edgy technology. A fucking calculator. Yeah, Lady Danish says, hell, I remember in the 90s being told we wouldn't always have a calculator around to help us with math.
Right, on your calculator and get yelled at by your teacher.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. It's stunning when when you lived in that era. The things that, not only that we have, it's not like, I'm not talking about things that we have nowadays that are just mind-blowing to us. The day-to-day stuff that we all take for granted are things that we never could have even imagined. And that's how fast technology is moving. It's crazy. Excuse me. Look Fun says you're old enough to know when calculators were out. Oh, yeah, it was a big deal. But see, ever since I was a kid, I've always been fascinated by technology. Anything that had any new... I remember when I was young, I was always a baseball nut. A game came out called Stratomatic Baseball. And it said on it, this is a computer-generated baseball game. I lost my shit. Because back then you were just hearing about computers. And I was able to get... We never had any money. But finally I was able to save up enough money.
Picture, if you will,
I got Stratomatic.
Are visiting.
And
political
it was
violence
just...
is rampant. And my voice can be
I
mimicked
just
by computers.
They had spit out some computer cards.
What's that? Well, fuck me then.
Exactly. Well, you're exactly right. I mean, we would never think things like this. What you just posted right there. Mario, hey, thanks. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate it. But that Stratomatic came out, and I'm thinking that you're going to be interacting somehow with some sort of a computer.
It was just granted.
They'd put numbers into a computer. Granted for granted. Yeah, that's a good example too. Chrome says we've talked about this before, but since we're Disney fans, we both love the Carousel of Progress. It's just an amazing reminder of progress. Yeah, it is. And in the original Carousel of Progress, even when they went into the future, they as you know, Chrome, they just barely scratched the surface. and they were thinking this is tech that may or may not happen, like voice activation for your electronics and stuff. It's crazy. Conversation of Source Rex says, do you think time travel will ever become possible? I've read up on that, Rex, and it gets way over my head. From what I understand, and the little bit we know now about actual time travel, I guess time travel into the future would be possible, but into the past they say no. But I never say never, because just as I outlined, there are things that take place every day now in our everyday lives that when I was a kid we would have said never. Absolutely could not happen. And you would have been called a weirdo if you had even suggested it. Chrome says it's out of date now. It is. Might be time to make a new one. Don't get rid of the old one. Just make a new one next week. Yeah, you're right. I would never want to get rid of the original for just the reasons you outlined, Chrome, because it was not only fun to see the way that people lived back then, but it's also fun to see what their estimation was of what things would be in the future. You're right. I would never want them to get rid of the original. But yes, it's pretty rough. Lady Dana says, my 96-year-old grandma never thought she'd see self-driving cars, and yet here they are. Yeah. Oh, I mean, and again, just the things that we take for granted every day. This and all it can do is something we never would have thought of. You might have convinced us that maybe there will be a system where you could have your telephone with you at all times, but to have it also be able to have all the information of the world at the tip of your fingers at the same time and do all the things. No, never. Jill says, first rule of firearm safety, know your target and what's beyond, yet they randomly just firing on it. Yeah. Well, like I say, I'll give them leeway on that one because I think
it's not all it's cracked up to be. And I accidentally kicked a rock, and now I hear a political figure got shot in this timeline?
Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Well, and the thing that's scary about technology too, guys, is, as we all know, now technology begets more technology. We have technology that helps us create at a much, much more rapid pace further technology. At this point, it's not self-replicating. It's still humans that are giving the technology directions, but that technology is such a major assistance in getting to those each next levels, there's no telling where it stops. Rex says, imagine being born in the year 1900. During their lifetime, technology-wise, they would see from horse and buggy to cars, planes, computers, rockets, or going to the moon, splitting atoms. Yeah. As I said, not even when I was a little kid, like middle schooler and everything, the things we have now are stunning. A lot of people don't know this, and I don't know why I remembered it. I'm going to say I was in about 7th or 8th grade. And back then, there were like little newspapers, 4 or 5 page long newspapers. And once a month, they would send these newspapers out to schools. And they were just had a list of different things going on in the world, supposed to open our stupid little minds to things around us, so on and so forth. I remember they were in the process of creating this unit that you could attach to your TV. And if you pushed a button on that unit at a given point, you could take a snapshot of what you had seen on your screen. And we saw that in this paper, and we were all blown away. I mean, they even had a little picture of how it worked, and the picture that you got was so grainy, ridiculous, and terrible, you couldn't tell what the fuck it was. But we were amazed.
Oh my
now that wow, that was our reaction. And of course, that never came to market because right on the heels of that, then VHS technology started taking over where you could actually record programs, so on and so forth. But that was the early steps, and I always remembered that because I was always so into technology. We thought that was the height. I was like, I can't wait till that comes out. I'm going to be able to push a button, and I'm going to see a picture of Batman on TV. That's what we thought was high tech. I can see the future. I'm like, yeah, correct. Lady Danish says, remember when TiVo was a huge deal? It was, again, cutting edge. You can record a show and watch it later. Mind-blowing at the time. It was 100% it was. Record it, and then, I mean, even going things like in audio, you went from records to cassette tapes, and cassette tapes like, this is so cool. You can take it with you. And then you went from cassette tapes to CDs. Now you don't have to hit the rewind button. Are you kidding? You can just push a button and go to the next track. Wow! Oh, God. All right, guys, I gotta pack it up. This was a lot of fun, this stream. I appreciate everybody hanging in with me. I appreciate all your ideas on the topic too. CD's nuts. CD's nuts. Ah, well played, Sonic. I appreciate all your input on everything. It's one of the reasons I love doing these streams. Now, see, I've got a lot of different ways of looking at this whole UFO thing now that I hadn't even considered. For instance, like, there's the We'll Be Right Back. The things like maybe it is us creating something new. We had to test run it. And our boy, there he is, Plankton. It's never over till Plankton and the We'll Be Right Back say it's over. I really appreciate this. This was a lot of fun. Yeah, you guys always make stuff like this so enjoyable. We're gonna be doing more and more of these. Oh, prepare your anus, Curtis Candy. It's prepared. Don't you worry. It's always prepared. Listen, at my age, any attention I can get is good attention. I'm gonna. You can call it anal probe. You can call it whatever you want. I call it attention, and I need it. Yeah, this was a blast. Thank you, guys. You're the ones who make it fun. Don't know about the schedule for the weekend. You guys know on Saturdays I have my college football, but I am going to try and stream at least once on the weekend. Hopefully more. I'm really enjoying this. I'll talk to you guys real soon.